What up, you nerds? Fallout here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Plug 1 and Adept Plug 1 God Roll. Reminder that the Adept Plug 1 will be available for you to farm tomorrow, i.e. June 22nd, via beating the Grandmaster Nightfall. I'm going to be 100% honest with you, the Plug 1 is not currently the best fusion rifle in the game. In terms of PvP, the Glacioclasm fusion rifle with a good roll is so very good at liquefying enemy guardians. Add on top of that, Bastion is also an obnoxiously effective gun that requires very little practice to use well. So why waste any time talking about the Plug 1? Well, two reasons. Reason number one, it's always a good idea to hold on to a top tier roll of every weapon archetype, especially an Adept weapon, in the event that Bungie ever buffs them in the future. Remember 110 RPM hand cannons? No one but crazy people ever touch them in PvP, and then one sandbox change later, bam, they become 120s, and they're immediately top tier. That can happen at any time to any weapon archetype, so better to be safe than sorry. Add on top of that shotguns are absolutely going to get knocked down a few pegs at some point in the future. I mean, they gotta be, right? And in the event that they do, we could be looking at a fusion rifle meta. Reason number two, I haven't gotten the ability to try this out yet, but there may be a very particular PvE role that can help melt Atheon in one phase. More on that later. Stick around to the end of the video for me to go over that. All right, with both of these reasons in mind, let's move on and talk about the Plug 1 God Roll. I have no sponsored content lined up for today.
Thank God.
So I'll just say buy Advanced GG with my code. Get a discount and it tastes really good. Okay, moving on to column 1, barrel talk. We've got plenty of options here, but we haven't gotten down and dirty yet about what stat matters the most on a fusion rifle. Are you ready, kids? The answer is, drumroll please, stability, at least in my opinion. Let me tell you very briefly why. When using a fusion rifle in PvP, your primary concern should be locking up a one-shot kill. If you have to charge up and fire 2 shots from your fusion rifle, odds are you're going to get Fellwintered to death before you even get an opportunity to fire off burst number 2. So because your goal is to kill an enemy in one burst, you need to guarantee that you're landing enough bolts from your fusion rifle on an enemy to lock up that one charge kill. The Plug 1, by default, does 39 damage per bolt. Quick math, meaning that if you were to land 4 bolts from your fusion rifle, you'd only be dealing about 156 damage overall, which ain't enough damage to kill another dude in PvP. 39 times 5 is 195 damage, which, depending on your enemy's resil, can kill a dude in PvP. Fusion rifles with high stability have a tighter bolt spread overall, and a tighter bolt spread means you have more of a chance of hitting an enemy center mass with as many bolts as possible, locking up a one-hit kill. If your fusion rifle has bad stability and RNG gives you a bad bolt spread, you could be left in a situation like this. You only hit your enemy with 4 bolts, which ain't enough damage to kill him. Now you're going to be charging up a follow-up shot, and they're going to take whatever weapon they have and ram it right down your throat. Now, range is still important on fusion rifles for sure, but I want to show you something. Here I am in a private lobby using 2 near identical Plug 1 fusion rifles. One of them has 62 range and the other has 80. Despite that big difference in range, the 62 range Plug 1 could only hold max damage up to about 19 meters, and the 80 range Plug 1 held max damage up to 20 meters, meaning that huge difference of 18 range only translated to 1 extra meter of damage drop-off in fusion rifle land. Again, range is always going to make a weapon feel a tad better in practice, but when vooping people, a tight bolt spread is your main priority, and because that is the case, we want stability. Okay, back to column 1. One barrel we absolutely want to avoid is full bore. While that may be a hot option on a lot of other weapons in D2, avoid it on your PvP Plug 1 because it harms your stability and you want that number high for a tight bolt spread. Corkscrew rifling, small bore, and even polygonal are all great options, and I gotta give a shout out to Arrowhead Break. Even though it doesn't benefit your stability at all, the recoil direction can bump you up to 100, which a lot of people may appreciate. Believe it or not though, I think I'm gonna give the win to Chambered Compensator here. 9 stability, which is what we want most, paired together with a 10 recoil direction buff, taking the entire number up to 85. IMO, 85 is good enough on its own to be left completely alone if you want, but if you have a regular, i.e. non-Adept Plug 1, you could slap Counterbalance on to take that bad boy up to 100, or you could go with Icarus or Targeting Adjuster. I'm going hard answer, chambered comp, #1 barrel. I want the most on my plug 1. All right, moving on to column 2, and this one is very tricky. A lot of you are probably jumping directly to particle repeater for the 9 bump to stability, and while that is definitely a great option, we have to talk about the 2 wild card options here: accelerated coils and liquid coils. One of them will make your charge up time quicker at the cost of weaker bolt damage, and the other will make your charge up time longer but will reward you with stronger bolts overall. Are either option worth the pick? Why don't we start with accelerated coils? Turning on that perk will take your damage per bolt from 39 down to 38. Not a big jump, but it does mean that hitting 5 bolts will only take your max damage to 190, meaning only guardians with barely any resil at all, I think 1, will die from 5 bolts total. If you want to one-hit kill anyone with accelerated, you gotta make contact with at least 6 bolts, and I gotta be real, that is brutal. If you are incredibly confident that your stability is high enough for 6 bolts to connect the majority of the time, sure, go accelerated, but I ain't touching that perk on the plug 1, no thank you. There is one way you could convince me to maybe turn it on, but we'll get to that a bit later. On the other hand, liquid coils, that'll change the damage per bolt from 39 to 40. 5 bolts landed with liquid coils takes your damage up to an even 200. Hell to the yeah. With liquid coils, you'll be able to 5-bolt kill any guardian in PvP, even if they're running max resil. The only downside is a mildly longer charge up time, but there's a way we can get around that drawback later on. Besides, even with liquid taking your charge time up to 780 total, it's still quicker than high impact frames like Glacioclasm with their default charge time of 860. Also, with mildly higher damage, you can fight the effects of damage drop off a little bit better. But really, IMO, the biggest benefit of liquid is guaranteeing the 5-bolt kill on literally any guardian. Gun to my head, I'm probably gonna go liquid, but yeah, particle repeater is also an unquestionably top tier option on the plug. Why don't we move on to column 3? Handful of options to pick from here, but a few right off the bat that we might not want, starting with Quick Draw. Quick Draw works wonders on many weapon types. Think about it. Someone's charging you down quicker than you thought, you whip out a Quick Draw shotgun and bam, you turn him into confetti. Now, there's nothing bad about whipping out your fusion rifle quickly, but remember, even though you can draw it lightning quick, you still have to charge the damn thing up before firing. Definitely not bad, but believe me, we can do better. Feeding Frenzy is also going to get a thumbs down. Yay, better reload speed, but is that really your priority on a special weapon in PvP? Yeah, I didn't think so. Bottomless Grief is interesting, bigger mag size by 1, and also if you're the last living member of your fire team, each final blow will refill your mag. Could be cool for PvE, maybe, but I'm not really down with perks that only give you a real benefit when all your homies are dead. We plan for success around here, not failure. God damn it. Killing Wind is dope, mainly for the bump in movement speed. The range is cool too, but as I showed earlier, at the high end, the plug 1 doesn't benefit a ton from oodles of extra range. Still, every little bit does help, and Killing Wind is viable for sure. The final 2 perks I consider top tier, with one maybe being a smidge above the other. Heating Up IMO gets the silver medal. Final blows improve your weapon accuracy, stability, and vertical recoil. Damn, that is a nice pile of things to give to a fusion rifle. I've shown in my Heating Up and Tunnel Vision video that improving either your accuracy or aim assist cone is pretty much top shelf, no matter how you swing it. With all that going on, how could I possibly rank Heating Up second in column 3? It's cause you actually have to get a kill with your plug 1 in order to activate Heating Up. Normally, something I wouldn't care about at all. I'll gladly roll Heating Up on almost any primary weapon, but we're rocking a fusion rifle, and the last perk in the column to take a look at is Under Pressure, one of the most godly perks you can put on any fusion rifle, hands down. Under Pressure gives you better stability and accuracy when your magazine drops below 50%. Normally a pain in the ass to get to with primary weapons because you spawn in with a full mag and need to wait for your mag to bleed down, but with the plug 1, you spawn into PvP with 2 in the mag, which is already 1 below the 50% mark. There's no time limit on Under Pressure kicking in either. As long as you have 3 in the mag or less, which is usually most of the time in PvP, you have the bumped up accuracy and stability for free. It is so difficult to pick anything else in column 3. Again, you know it's gotta be good when I'm willingly turning down Heating Up. Lock up those 5-bolt kills way easier with Under Pressure. And now we come to column 4. I'm gonna take a few things right off the table immediately, starting with Backup Plan. On paper, Backup Plan sounds like a top tier option. Whip out your fusion right quick with a huge reduction in your charge up time and fire off a volley of bolts in the blink of an eye. Unfortunately, there's a problem. With fusion rifles in Destiny, usually when your charge time gets quicker, your damage dealt gets weaker. Imagine accelerated coils, but even more so. Backup plan on your plug 1 takes your damage per bolt down to the same level of damage you'd have if you were rocking a fusion in the rapid fire frame family. Ever used the null composure in PvP and determined it was literal dog do? Well, backup plan turns your plug 1 into a null composure when activated. You're gonna have to land more bolts to lock up the kill, and if you whiff, may God have mercy on your soul. Reservoir burst, I'm also gonna pass on. Dishing out more damage is cool, but it only happens when your mag is full, which goes directly against my baby in column 3, under pressure, and I'll be damned if I'm giving up that perk. Thresh is boring but effective. Supers can take you very far in PvP, and piling onto your meter a little harder with Thresh, always a good thing. The final 3 perks are acceptable for our plug 1 role, but each comes with a unique drawback, which I'm not really thrilled about. Adrenaline Junkie gives you extra damage output for 10 whole seconds, but only when you get a grenade kill. For players out there who run grenade heavy builds, for you, this will probably be a no-brainer. Activate Junkie and watch as the extra damage very noticeably extends your overall one-hit kill range. Now let's talk about Kickstart, a perk that isn't necessarily bad, but I see a lot of people praising it maybe way too hard. Here's how it works. You run, you slide, you bump up the damage per bolt on your fusion and improve the charge rate. Sounds really good, right? Here's the downside. The activation criteria is annoyingly terrible, and if you botch it, which can and will happen, you gotta rerun around all over again for 1.5 seconds to recharge the perk. If Kickstart could activate literally every time you slid on the ground, it would be unarguably god tier. But the fact that it takes 1.5 seconds of running to charge up each time, ugh. There are times in PvP where enemies run from you, or players will play cover very tightly, or they'll jump over you. Trust me, even if you play really well, there will be times where you try to activate Kickstart, Murphy's Law happens, and you will fail. On top of the activation time, even if you barely miss time charging your fusion rifle during your slide, the duration window of when you can activate it is so brief, you can totally botch Kickstart. Now let's say you actually time it right, your enemy doesn't chicken out or bail, and you get Kickstart to activate. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the plug 1 firing normally and with Kickstart. The difference in your plug 1's charge up time is literally a matter of frames. I counted them, and it comes down to a faster charge time by less than 1/3 of a second. I'm gonna say that again, less than 1/3 of a second. The real benefit of Kickstart IMHO is the fact that it heavily beefs up your damage per bolt to about 47, absolutely guaranteeing the 5 bolt on any Guardian, and pushing out your overall one-hit kill range by a tad. I really wish Kickstart were strong enough to guarantee plug 1 could lock up a 4-bolt kill, but the numbers only add up to 188 damage, not enough to kill a dude. Highly unfortunate. And before you ask, Kickstart and Liquid Coils together is only 48 damage per bolt, which is strong enough to potentially 4-bolt kill a Guardian, but only if they're running 2 Resil or lower, which is very rare in PvP. You could pair Kickstart together with Accelerated Coils in column 2, faster charge time from AC Coils, but more damage from Kickstart. However, I don't even want that option because I find the activation criteria on Kickstart to be so painfully annoying. If it doesn't bother you though, go for Kickstart. Finally, we come to Cornered, a weapon perk so rare that it only drops on the plug 1. Here's what it does. Faster draw and charge time when you're surrounded by combatants. How many enemies do you need to be surrounded by? In PvP, only 2, and they have to be within 14 meters of you or Cornered won't turn on. How much quicker does it make your charge up time? It's actually about the same as the benefit given from Kickstart, which again, not incredibly quick. Every little bit does help though, and a faster charge up time with no penalty at all to your impact can help you murder a charging shotgun ape before they Fellwinter you down. Really though, I wish that either Rangefinder or Firmly Planted was here in column 4, but in the meantime, I'll settle for what we got. In the Masterwork department, range is fine, but again, after what we talked about earlier, I want stability. Take note, avoid a charge time Masterwork at all costs. Remember that a maxed out charge time Masterwork will lower your damage per bolt, making it harder to lock up that 5-bolt kill. Do not go with charge time. Regarding your weapon mod, I want to make a few comments here because if you manage to get the Adept plug 1, you have great extra options that a regular plug 1 can't have. One option I think you should really think about is Adept charge time. Remember how I mentioned that when charge time goes down, impact goes down too? The The Adept Charge Time weapon mod doesn't have that drawback, meaning you'll get all the benefits of a quicker charge time but without the lower impact per bolt. Pairing Adept Charge Time with Liquid Coils means that you'll get the guaranteed 5-bolt kill on any Guardian with the extra charge time from Liquid Coils completely cancelled out. And of course, if you're okay with your current level of charge time, Adept Stability is always an option too. Do not go with Adept Targeting. Whatever you do, it'll take your stability down by 13, and that's really no good. Alright, time for me to review our PvP Plug 1 God Roll. Column 1, for me, it's got to be Chambered Compensator, and in Column 2, I'd be happy with Particle Repeater, but I'm looking for Liquid Coils. Column 3, it is without question Under Pressure for this guy, and Column 4, I'd be fine with either Cornered, Adrenaline Junkie, or Kickstart. And there you go, a fiery hot PvP roll on your hopefully Adept Fusion Rifle. Now, I did mention early on about a PvE roll I wanted to tinker with. Really quickly, here's why. The Null Composure Fusion Rifle, when used with a team that's firing on all cylinders, is capable of one-phasing Atheon in VOG. With the right perks though, I'm thinking that the Adept Plug 1 can do the same job, but maybe better. Null Composure does well on Atheon because it fires really quickly, so what about a quick PvE roll on the Adept Plug 1? Chambered Compensator, Accelerated Coils, Under Pressure, Cornered, or Adrenaline Junkie, and an Adept Charge Time Masterwork. With all these, the Adept Plug 1 gets a charge time of 660, only slightly longer than Null Composure's 540 charge time, but the Plug 1 manages to hold on to much more damage per bolt overall. Not to mention that if there are Vex Harpies nearby, they could help you proc Cornered to shoot Atheon even faster. I haven't tried it yet, but if I get that particular roll, I'll let you know how it goes in Atheon testing. Either way, good luck out there, go farm a few Adept Plug 1s and get to voopin'. Let me know what other weapons you're interested in a God roll on, and click like on today's video if it helped you in any way. Shout out to my Patreons for supporting the content, couldn't do it without you. Thank you boys. Check out patreon.com/falloutplays if you want to learn more. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.